I have a package. I'm gonna open it. Not really sure how to start this video, but I mean, you'll already see from the title that it's a review of the Predator FR7. Predator was kind enough to send me an FR7. If you don't know or haven't been following me for very long, I've been wearing a Predator FR7 since 2015. I got my first one in 2015, and I've owned 4 or 5 at this point. Yeah, and Predator was kind enough to send me a new one. I decided a couple of years ago that I want to start wearing a new helmet every year. It's just something I decided personally for safety reasons. A helmet is something you never want to actually use, as in like it save your head. I have hit my head a couple of times, and I've always been glad that I was wearing a helmet. 1 or 2 times especially, where like, you know, pretty heavy hit on my head that if I wasn't wearing a helmet could have been really bad. Yeah, so I've just decided that I want to start wearing a new helmet every year, basically every skate season. But yeah, Predator was kind enough to send me one for this year, which is just so awesome. I'm beyond stoked, and thank you so much to Predator for sending me out the helmet. But yeah, I got a black one this year. And yeah, I thought I'd do a review on the helmet. Yeah. Here it is. Black FR7 from Predator helmets. Yeah, so I got my first one in 2015. I got a green one. I don't know what year I got a black one. I think it was 2018. And then 2019, towards the end of 2019, I got this red one. I rode the red one for a couple of years. And then actually after snowboarding in it, as well as after skating it for a couple of years, that's when I made the decision I want to start doing one helmet a year. And so the spring of last year, bought this blue one. So I've had a few. I trust them, I love them. I've got a lot of positive things to say about them. And yeah, this year I've gone back to black. Okay, so I'll start off by talking about the design. Obviously one of the most notable things that's different to other half shell helmets is this lip on the front of the helmet. This is to stop like sun glare. It kind of like helps shade your forehead without like blocking your vision. It's just like a little visor. Kind of like when you're wearing a hat, it's to stop the sun getting in your eyes basically. It's actually more effective than you would think. I don't know so much about sun glare. I'm normally wearing sunglasses and you're looking everywhere. But what I noticed is that it definitely doesn't like get much sun on my forehead, so I don't really get sunburn on my forehead. Not that sunburn is as bad here in the States as it is in New Zealand, but if you wear sunscreen, like if you're as pale as me and you need to wear sunscreen, you know putting sunscreen on your forehead in the summertime means when you sweat it gets in your eyes, and it's terrible. So I actually really like about these helmets is that I don't need to put sunscreen on my forehead. I definitely need to put it on my massive nose, but not my forehead. Therefore, when I sweat and it goes in my eyes, it's just sweat stinging my eyeballs, not sunscreen, which is good. It also, I think, like, because they do water sports and stuff, well, they advertise for water sports and stuff, it can help with water. I do notice when rain skating, the water doesn't tend to get in my face as much when it's raining because it will catch on this lip, and if it runs down the helmet, it will sort of run off the lip and kind of clear your face, which is just, I don't know, it's a cool design thing, and it actually works. Something that it might not actually be in their design like intentionally, but it's something I notice and really appreciate, is that where their venting and holes are, there isn't anything in the middle. Being an action sport, a lot of us like to use GoPros, and GoPros obviously stick with one of these mounts. And a lot of other helmets out there, they've got holes in the middle, or yeah, basically in the top normally. But that's actually where I like to put the GoPro clip, right in the middle on the top. And the way the Predator vents are on the top, because it's not in the middle, I can put this centered wherever I want to put it, but I can put it centered, which is where I like to have it. This means with putting the GoPro on, I can have it facing forward and back and be equally placed, for skating. That might just be a small thing. For me, it's a big deal. You know, I see a lot of other people, they have it right on the front, and then they can't film behind them, or they could have one on the back, but then obviously you can't film forward. It's just super handy to have it dead center on the top, and it's just like a small thing that kind of is a big deal to me. You can see on both my previous helmets, I've got the GoPro mounts right on the top in the very center. Just super practical for action sports, and especially skating, being able to film people in front of you and film people behind you. This isn't something I actually really realized until I was reading through the description, but they have their vents placed, like, technically I guess, so that the air will actually go around your head and out again. So there's these vents in the front and vents in the back, and that allows air to come in and go out. So you go to sort of get like a circulation type effect on your head to help keep you cool. I didn't realize that was like an actual design feature, but I definitely don't think my head gets super warm when wearing it. So it's comfortable and it keeps your head reasonably cool, that's just something super cool that they thought of in their design to keep your head cool while you're doing whatever you do, but these specifically skating for me. But yeah, really cool. One thing I completely forgot to mention, so I'm just jumping back in here, is every helmet comes with extra padding. So if you're kind of in between sizes and your head's slightly smaller than the helmet size you got, you can fill it in with thicker pads. If your head's a little bigger than the size you got, you can swap out the pads for like thinner pads. So it's like adjustable. It should be reasonably easy to get it to fit. I'm just looking at me wearing it now, and it's funny to have a new helmet because it's probably a little tight on my head right now. Oh, no, it's good. Yeah, no, it's good. But yeah, no, they're adjustable, so they come in 3 different sizes. They've also got the padding to adjust within those sizes. So it should accommodate for basically any sized head. Like, yeah, I don't know, there's not a ton to say about that. But they do come with the padding, which is pretty cool too. Okay, so now dipping into sort of more the safety side of things. These helmets are made with EPS, which most good helmets are EPS, which is expanded polystyrene. So that's like just the main material, and then obviously you've got the hard shell on the outside. What that means is like it compresses when it gets hit. So if it takes an impact, it's going to compress, and basically the EPS is going to compress instead of your skull. So, which is how the helmet saves you. It's not just like a hard thing that you hit against. Like, it's partially that, but the main thing is actually that compression, which absorbs a lot of the force. This is actually why I've decided to wear a new helmet every year, is just, you know, wear and tear on your helmet. If you drop it, if it's rolling around the back of your car, you know, any kind of dinks and donks and, I don't know, bangs on your helmet is over time going to compress that foam, and it's not going to save you, or it's not going to save you as much as when they're new. And so that's just like a personal thing for me, where every year I'm wanting to update it. I'll just read off like the actual website so I don't get it wrong, but it says that the FR7 is CE-1078 certified and meets the CPSC bicycle standard. So it is a certified helmet for like whatever the standard for bike safety is. I don't think there's like a downhill skateboarding standard. We're not big enough sport for that, but it meets the cycling standard, which is pretty much as good. That's going to be like for slower speeds and stuff, obviously, and like whatever criteria that is. If you're going to be going crazy fast down mountain roads, that's when you want to be wearing your full face helmet anyway. But for your standard typical skating, like in the park, on the street, like longboarding at slower speeds, this is going to protect you from like a smaller fall. If you're going 100 kilometers an hour head first into a guardrail, you probably should have put your full face on first anyway, but this is going to save you for any like usual skating, which is like, I don't know, it's just super good to know. Like, for me personally, I don't really consider riding other helmets, but you never know. Some people don't really think about it. They just go, oh, that's a helmet, I'll wear that from a different brand, and they're not actually certified. So having a certification kind of is important. Not a lot of helmets have that. Yeah, these are actually safe. I've had a couple of bails. I had one, I probably was going 50 Ks an hour, came off the board, this was years ago, and went like face first into a curb. So the top of the helmet hit the curb. My face still hit it, but my head took most of the impact. hit the side of the helmet, and my head was not injured. My face got grazed, but my skull and like no concussion, no nothing. The other one was, again, when I was young and dumb, tried someone else's board, tried to do a push-up slide, two-handed toe side, wasn't used to the board, and just flipped over on my back like that, like an instant slam, smacked the back of the helmet really hard against the road. Again, no concussion, no head injury. The helmet was totaled, but I was fine. So it's just like those are probably my two heaviest slams into a helmet. Fine, both times. So it's a safe helmet, which is really important. Like, you've only got one brain, you know, your skull doesn't heal that easily. It's really important to stay safe. The other aspect about this that, like, I'm talking about buying one a year, which obviously, again, it's a personal preference. Some people wear their helmets for ages, but they're only 70 bucks Canadian, so that's what, like 60 bucks US or something. It's not that expensive. These days, it's like half the price of a set of race wheels. You know, to buy that once a year, maybe once every 2 years, like, it's definitely worth it. They're not that expensive. They could save your life, literally. It's one of the most important parts of skating is actually your helmet. Yeah, I don't know, I can't recommend it enough to just make sure your helmet is safe. You know, you can check the foam. If it looks like it's all still full size and expanded, you're probably good. If you can physically see that it's thin, like this distance here is thin, you should really consider getting a new helmet. And yeah, I don't know, it's just something I feel like not everyone thinks about a lot, and if you can afford it, definitely consider investing in a new helmet more regularly. It's really, I don't know, I just keep saying it, it's really important to protect your skull, basically. But yeah, I don't know, I can't say thank you enough to Predator for sending me the helmet. It's pretty cool, pretty exciting. And yeah, definitely if you haven't had a FR7 before, check them out. There's a lot of cool things about them. And yeah, I love the helmets. I'm gonna be wearing these for a long time. We'll see what color I get next year.